Hello, welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. Now on Instagram, Movies TV Mad X. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Well. After a week or so of not much news in terms of DC and much entertainment news in itself, we've got a belter here, a perler from Mathew Vaugn. Not only has he confirmed that he's been in talks with James Gunn and Peter Safran of DC Studios to direct a DC Universe movie in which I want to discuss and kind of, guess what movie he'll be directing. I do have a couple of conspiracy theories about Mathew Vaugn and DC Studios, so stay right here and we'll get into it. He also threw a perler at us. A big surprise. He pitched a Superman movie trilogy prior to Man of Steel being greenlit. Now, Mathew Vaugn has gone on the record and said many a time that he's not a fan of the Snyderverse and he's not a fan of Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. I am. So what kind of pitch did Mathew Vaugn come up with for a Superman trilogy? His idea was that Krypton doesn't get destroyed when Kal-El is a baby, but it survives. And he doesn't get sent to Earth until he's a young adult, and that's when Krypton actually gets destroyed. Now, I think this is a very good, fresh, new contemporary idea. I don't think Superman purists would have felt the same. I did come up with a similar idea myself, but instead of Superman being sent to Earth as a young adult and Krypton being destroyed then, in my story, Krypton wouldn't have been destroyed at all. And Superman makes the heartbreaking decision at the end of the movie to leave Earth, leave Lois Lane, and go back to Krypton to fight in a civil war. But I believe that this pitch from Mathew Vaugn would have been as polarizing as Man of Steel, a film I absolutely love. So it is interesting that Mathew Vaugn doesn't like the Snyderverse. It is interesting that Mathew Vaugn doesn't like Man of Steel. Is it because he was bitter because his pitch was rejected? So a very interesting pitch that Mathew Vaugn came up with for a Superman trilogy. Listen, Mathew Vaugn is a very, very talented writer-director. And it's clear that James Gunn and Peter Safran feel the same way. So what DC Universe movie could Mathew Vaugn be directing in DC Universe? Very interesting. I have two theories. Don't be surprised if Mathew Vaugn is been secretly co-writing Superman Legacy with James Gunn. Don't be surprised if Mathew Vaugn ends up directing Superman Legacy. We know that James never really wanted to attach himself as director of Superman Legacy. We will see. It's just a theory. I could be absolutely wrong. Or could he replace Andy Muschietti as director of Brave and the Bold? I said it at the time. I still believe this, that Andy Muschietti was never going to direct Brave and the Bold, and that announcement was made to try and hype up the Flash movie and get it a bigger box office because they knew it was going to fail at the box office, which it did. So look out for that, and you can save this, at the end of the day and spread it around. I don't believe that Andy Muschietti will be directing Brave and the Bold. So don't be surprised if Mathew Vaugn directs Brave and the Bold, or even Superman Legacy, but maybe he's doing something else. It's going to be a very, very interesting situation. But I do like Mathew Vaugn. I do think he's a really, really good director, and I'm happy that they're negotiating with him at DC Studios to do a DC movie. And as I say, it's going to be a very interesting situation to see what he could be directing within the new DC franchise. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he's been involved with Superman Legacy all along. Mathew Vaughn's eyes have been set on Superman for a very, very long time. So as I say, don't be surprised if he ends up being involved with Superman Legacy. Don't be surprised if he's been secretly co-writing Superman Legacy with James Gunn. Very interesting situation. It will be interesting in what kind of Batman movie, if he did replace Andy Muschietti as director of Brave and the Bold, that he could make as well. So look, James Gunn's been very ambitious with the kind of directors that he's been looking for, and so it is very exciting to see people like Mathew Vaugn being involved and what kind of movie he ends up doing at DC Studios will be very, very interesting indeed. But what do you think? What movie at DC Universe would you like Mathew Vaugn to direct? Do you think he's been secretly co-writing Superman Legacy? Would you like him to replace Andy Muschietti as the Brave and the Bold director? Let me know in the comments down below.